If we're gonna get that 80s sound, we're gonna need a couple of items. First off, we're gonna need a Lamborghini. Let's face it, we're gonna need Don Johnson at some point. We're gonna need a small mountain of cocaine. We're gonna need a guitar with a headstock like this. And finally, we're gonna need... Seriously, guys, this can't be real. Is this the list? Can't we just use Logic? Of course you can use Logic. Let's see how I did it. So guys, I will show you the correct way for me to be doing the 80s sound in Logic, and as I hope you will experience also, it's the only way to make the 80s sound in Logic. So guys, follow me along for the correct way for doing the 80s sound in Logic Pro X. But on the serious side, this is a song by an artist called Marie Skak. That's Danish for chess, so basically it would be Marie Chess. Yeah, chew on that for a while. I'm gonna show you the end of the first verse. No, the end of the second verse. Going into the bridge, going into the chorus. Mainly using stock plugins in Logic. Take a listen. Thank you, ScreenFlow. And then the beat goes on and on and on. But mainly I'm gonna focus on two things. This package that I'm soloing here, if you've never seen Logic before, these tracks are me putting or funneling drums into a group, basses into a group, vocals into a group. And I want you to focus on this. I've now soloed the bass, drums, and vocals, and I need this to work on a chorus. So let's take a listen. So touch me like you want it, touch me like you need it. In this crazy love affair, touch me like you want it, touch me like you need it. And lo and behold, it is working. And the first thing I wanted to assure you about the 80s sound, it doesn't matter which DAW you use, it matters what quality your song is. Now Marie has got a really nice ear. She's really tuned into the 80s kind of songwriting because she just happens to love 80s songs. All I had to do was come up with instruments and parts that complement the songwriting. So from the bottom up, let's start with the drums. So from some kind of reverse cymbal to the kick, this is what we've got. Let's take a listen to the first verse. First chorus. And basically that's it. There's a bit of drums in the bridge. Big fill. And that's it. If I pull up the mixer, you can see that I've actually, I don't know why, but I've been using the Ultra Beat on this one with samples. There's a bit of latency because I'm recording it to ScreenFlow at the same time. Besides the fact that this is a stock plugin, I've been using my own samples. This is from the Oliver Pack, Lin LM1 one-shot kick. Sounds like this. Going through an overdrive plugin and a bit of EQ, pulling out 100 and 3K. Without it, without the overdrive and the EQ, sounds like this. With it. Also, it's going through a drum bus with an SSL compressor, some saturation, Pro Q doing this. Trying to control some of the high end at 6K and a low roll off at 21 Hertz. Don't know why. That's a Norah Jones song. Don't know why. I've got the inflator doing the inflator thing. And finally, Pro L, doing probably just catching some peaks. A lot of this 4 on the floor, snare on 2 and 4 can get quite transient heavy on the 2 and 4 where the snare hits at the same time as the kick. So this is basically just me trying to control that extra bit of transient. A big part of this song is actually this package of loops. I have a shaker. And I think this is actually just a Logic stock loop. I have this. Could actually be like a Jeremy, what's his name? Jeremy Sylvester, I just checked. And it is a Jeremy Sylvester loop, I think. I have an extra snare in the chorus doing. I've got a compressed version of it blended in almost 50-50, an EQ. Doing a low cut. So the snare without my processing, with my processing. A little more snappy, a little less bottom end. And I have this SD, normally SD in my library stands for Stephen Slate drums or the Slate Digital. And then I have some of the Oliver pack doing just the claps. I've also got a tambourine. If I was to quantize that tambourine, quantize this loop, quantize the hat loop, and quantize the Jeremy Sylvester loop, you would lose all of the swing or the kind of, you would miss some of the swing that actually propels this chorus along. Because if we go to the bass group and listen to what that's doing in the in the chorus. The other doing this. And I don't know what to tell you other than you probably didn't really notice the bass in the chorus, except for that it was holding down the bottom end. Without my processing. With the other bass, first bass. Ocean, the producer, the YouTube kind of guy, I downloaded his 808 and have been using it. I have an EQ doing just a roll off at the very, 30 hertz, and I've got a compressor doing 2 dBs. Now on the verse bass, and this is part of the 80s sound. If I solo the verse, this is the FM bass. And if you're not familiar with James something from the Freemasons, the 90s, early 2000 house group, he's made a sample library called F9 Logic TK something, Logic Toolkit. I bought it and I've been using it. There's a great sound in this FM bass. Just listen to it. And remember when I said that you wouldn't notice the bass in the chorus? Well, listen to it in the verse with the drums. Now listen to the bass in the chorus. So what happens is that the energy changes from instrument to instrument. In the verses, I've got the bass being really active, doing a lot of crazy 80s shit. And the drums being relatively simple. And then the energy exchanges in the choruses. So the energy goes from the bass into the drums. Well, besides the fact that I used one external sample pack for the bass in the chorus, everything up to now has just been loops and the same logic sounds that everybody else is using. And as we move into the keys bus, let's listen to the intro. Which doesn't actually make any sense unless you hear it as the whole package. So basically, we have in the intro just the stock retro synth doing way too live strings. Sounds like this. Live sounds like this. So the intro is just that. And then a little later, halfway through the intro, this piano comes in, super compressed. And drowned in reverb. This is my, I had a bit of 8K and 3K going into, pulling out a bit of 200, a little bit of low cut, but going into an 1176. Doing crazy amounts of compression. I just decided to pummel it with compression. Going into Valhalla vintage verb. In the verses, not much happening. These are the chords and the synths in the verse. First one, stock retro synth. Plugged sweet synth under the keyboard section. I'm sending to a bit of chorus. Warm pad. I think I actually stole this from Phineas, Billie Eilish's brother. I have that one also going to the chorus. Low cut, high pass, so the bottom end won't clutter. And I have another, it's named plugged sweet synth as the first one. I wonder why. No, so probably what happened is that I copied down this and I decided to change the preset. So I decided just to change the preset on the actual plugin itself. And I have this coastal chord riser. In the bridge, another stock Logic plugin sampler doing dreamy smooth vox. I don't know how they came up with this, but basically just if you spend enough time going through the presets on your days off, not doing work for clients, it's gonna pay off. Trust me, it's gonna pay off. So basically in the chorus I have my lovely Tal Uno X with the startup preset, and I've been fiddling with some of the settings. So it's basically just the startup, and I started to fiddle around with it until I came up with this sound. I have the old Nicky Romero kickstart doing the side chaining, and I had it going into this warm slap. I have this Juno doing the sidechain without the sidechain and the reverb. Now I know that sidechaining wasn't a big thing in the 80s, but the Juno was. I have the same preset, way too live strings. When I mentioned songwriting, this is actually a big thing I took from listening to a lot of 80s songs. Now the theme in the intro, if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it, just reuse it, and it's reminding you of the first damn thing you heard in the song. That's all that's happening with the synths. In the bridge I have this. That's basically the last of what's happening in the synths. We move on to one of the things that I mentioned in the intro, a guitar with a funny shaped headstock, because the guitars on this song is somewhat elaborate. In the intro, the guitars are doing this. Without all the effects, this is what you get. I have a compressor, love this one. I have an EQ, low cutting and removing 700 and 1200. I have a Pro Q after that, trying to control this 300, and the 300 hertz probably popped up when I started to add on the shit ton of synths and extra guitars. No one likes that. That's a shit frequency, and you can quote me on that. And finally going into the micro shift at probably full tilt. If it, well, time for me to update. Well, you can see this. This is the mix, and it's the style number 2, and the mix is almost fully up. Well, damn you. And I got it going to a stereo delay, which makes it go. And it's actually really fast, not my normal delay. Okay, yeah, I'll take it. In the first verse, I have this guitar. Without any plugins. This is the guitar package in the bridge. And the plugins, tremolo. Most of these guitar sounds is just about making up cool shit. I take a guitar, put on a compressor, remove what I don't like, send it to a cool reverb or delay. You gotta have power guitars in an 80s song. So the whole guitar package in the chorus sounds like this. Nothing fancy. Now in the bridge section, or the middle 8, as some of the old timers would call it, I have 2 guitars doing this. And they're actually recorded that way. If you can see, this guy over here is the Universal Audio aux box, and I have tube amps going into that. And the benefit of using the aux box is that it has built-in UA delay and reverbs. So if you look at this track, for instance, this is just a stereo track, and this is what the aux box is sending into Logic. And when you pan that to one side, and pair it with the same sound, just doing different chords. Put them together. And then the last chorus comes, and the only thing that's left is the guitar solo. And yes, I played a guitar solo. It's an 80s song, shut up. and that's it. I'm not gonna go through the vocals because it's the production that's kind of 80s. Her vocal sound is just basically contemporary. Well, if you want to know, I just basically took her vocal, recorded it through an Universal Audio 6176 preamp. I tried to control some of the harshness. Then I put on this plugin, which won't show up. And I went into this compressor, which is compressing. And I went into this, which is slightly enhancing some of the harmonically overtones. The higher in the high register, I pulled out 2.6K and 9.2K with an dynamic EQ, and I went into this as sort of a slightly dynamic compressing multiband. I don't know, yeah, went into reverb, went into chorus, and went into a delay, sending to a reverb, and that's it. So guys, without further ado, let's play the last chorus and take care.
Touch me like you want.